Hi, welcome back to another video. My name is Catherine Vitug. I'm here with my tiny little microphone, and today we are talking about motherhood because it's the best thing in the world and the hardest. So the best resource we have is each other, and that's why I'm making this video. So today I'm doing, I thought it would be fun to do the things I actually got right as a first-time mom. But I'm also going to do a follow-up video of the things I got wrong as a new mom, so stay tuned for that. So the number one thing that I got right as a new mother was how much time and energy I put into education, educating myself, getting myself familiarized and comfortable with the decisions I was going to be making as a new mother. This includes everything from the actual birthing process, how it works, what goes into it, what a positive birth experience looks like, what it takes to have a positive birth experience. I really immersed myself in that world, and that's a whole separate topic, like birth in and of itself. But yeah, it was, everything from birth to postpartum period and beyond. I really put a lot of, time into educating myself. Because as you know, especially as a first-time mom, your pregnancy seems like it lasts forever. So there's lots of time, obviously you're probably still working, but there's lots of time to read books or listen to books in your downtime, listen to podcasts, read articles, just really get comfortable, like I said, with the decisions you're going to be making. And this is everything from, your birth plan. Are you going to go with a midwife? Are you going to be in a hospital? To what happens after, you give birth, birthing the placenta, what that looks like, what kind of interventions you're comfortable or not comfortable with, the vaccination schedule, eye ointments, vitamin K shot, circumcision if you're going to be having a boy. I decided to not know the gender, so I had to really educate myself on that because that could have been a possibility for me. And also postpartum recovery, what that was going to look like, how I was going to nurture my own needs as well as the needs of my child. So yeah, education is a huge part of that. That also includes, I would add car seat education, because a lot of times that falls to the wayside, and then you're putting them in the car seat for the first time and you kind of don't know what you're doing. So I would add that to it. But yeah, just really educating yourself so you feel comfortable and you're not surprised by anything, because that can happen, especially if you're in a hospital setting. You can get surprised with, questions and decisions you're making, and that's when you can make a decision you might come to later regret. So education is definitely the first thing I got right as a new mom. So the second thing I got right was I was very much a minimalist when it came to the baby registry. There's a lot of marketing that goes into selling new mothers on how they need everything under the sun for their child, and a specific product for every single thing in your daily routine, and that's just not the case. And I knew this, and I still think I maybe got too much. So even tailoring it back, I could have tailored it back even more. But instead of going for a lot, in volume, I decided to go for less and of higher quality, because I knew that these were going to be investments that I was going to be using for every child of mine. So within that, I went for neutral colors that I could, have for a boy or girl, and a higher quality, so that I could use it over and over again. And I might do a video on that as well, like what I would suggest for a baby registry, because it's very overwhelming. I highly suggest being a minimalist and really thinking, how much am I going to need this product? Like, for example, does your baby really need separate towels, and a baby robe and all of that, for bath time? No, you can just use, a normal sized adult towel. They use it for 2 seconds and then you're changing them. So I definitely went for a minimalist approach, and I'm very happy that I did. The next thing I got right was that I stuck with breastfeeding. Breastfeeding went really well for us, and I'm very lucky. I know that's not the case for everyone, but she took to it really easily. But I will say, and I told my sister this because she was following right up behind me with her own child, is that it hurt for the first probably 10 days, 2 weeks. And I've heard that if you really want to breastfeed, you should stick with it for at least the first 2 weeks. And that was the case for me. I don't know. She had a good latch. There wasn't any issues there, but when she would latch, oh my God, it just hurt. I know they say lactation consultants say it shouldn't hurt, but for me it was just she has a good latch. This is working. I think I just have to kind of toughen up So I don't know, definitely get advice from a lactation consultant. But for me, it did hurt for a little while. And then after like 10 days, 2 weeks, it didn't hurt at all. So I was really happy that I stuck with it, because now, like, I'm feeding a toddler and I've also fed a baby with teeth. And yeah, there are times where it can be uncomfortable, but I'm really glad that I stuck with it, because it's the best relationship in the whole world. So if you're planning on breastfeeding, just pat yourself on the back, every time that you get through those initial sessions, because it might be hard at first, but it will get easier and it's worth it. Another thing that I got right, and I didn't get it right from day one, but it took me about 2 or 3 weeks to start bed sharing. And this was such a game changer for my family, for my relationship with my child. It was just for her health and happiness. I was so afraid of SIDS, and I just was told, like they say in the hospital, don't bed share, blah, blah. I listened to my instincts on this one. And even in the hospital, I remember when the nurses were saying, like, do not bed share, do not sleep with her, blah, 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 blah. I just had this natural instinct that was like, I would never go into a zoo, exhibit and go tell a mother panda, like, don't let your babies sleep next to you. Like, you put those cubs in their own separate container. It just didn't make sense to me. All mammals sleep skin to skin with their babies. And I had such a strong instinct to do the same. And I only didn't because I thought it was the safest for her. But actually, and I'll do a separate video on this, so I'm not going to get into all the details, but there is 7 rules that you follow for safe bed sharing, and it makes all the difference in the world. So when I finally found the right, knowledge about this, and I educated myself on this topic, I felt so much better and so empowered. And we started bed sharing, and it changed everything. I got as much sleep as I wanted. My husband got to sleep as long as he wanted. My baby was fully happy and not fussy and not crying the whole night. Like, breastfeeding just went flawlessly. Like, everything about our night just became great, from one decision. So bed sharing was probably the biggest thing that I did, that I'm really proud that I found as soon as I did, because it could have been a lot, later that I found that information, and I would have been upset about it. So yeah, so the first 2 weeks, not gonna lie, they're kind of hell, because I just didn't know. And it was funny. I would have these nightmares that she was like falling off me or something when she was not on me. Like when she was in the bassinet, I would have nightmares about something going wrong with her. But then I noticed when I was sleeping next to her and following all of the safe, rules, I slept like a baby. It's funny, it's counterintuitive. I thought that I'd be more scared sleeping with my child, but I was actually less scared, just more secure, calmer, everything. So yeah, so look into the safe practices of bed sharing, because it is a life changer. The next thing I got right was that I really looked into the kind of approach I was going to take to parenting. And I have to give credit where credit is due. I have a friend of mine who reached out when I was a new mom, and she's a mom, I think, of 3 babies now, and she reached out and she said, hey, I know what it's like. If you need anything, let me know. And she just kind of DM'd me, and she was like, by the way, if you need really good resources as a new mom, I suggest following these accounts on Instagram or whatever. And she kind of laid out her approach, and I loved it. And yeah, so I'm actually going to put some really helpful Montessori, gentle parenting, respectful parenting resources down below in the description box, because yeah, if you follow the right accounts on Instagram, it's like constantly programming yourself every time you look on Instagram. So instead of programming yourself for negative things, you're programming yourself to be a better parent, a better person. So yeah, so I'm really happy that I found the parenting ideologies that I really align with, because I use the phrase connected parenting, but that can include gentle parenting and respectful parenting and RIE parenting. So yeah, I was really happy that I found those resources early on, and just really kind of found okay, this is definitely the kind of parent that I am striving to be. And yeah, those resources help me to reaffirm that, and practice it, because it takes practice, to be a gentle parent, to parent the way that you want to on your best day. It takes practice. So those are definitely a good resource I recommend. Another thing that kind of ties into that is I made the decision before having kids that I was going to homeschool. I'm super passionate about it, expect a lot of homeschooling content to come in the future. But I will say it's something I'm glad I knew even before having kids, because it's totally changed my mindset. So even, that my daughter's still a baby, I have this like mindset of homeschooling. And I've kind of ironed out and found the ideologies that I align with within that realm too. So I don't know, it's kind of helped me step into that role ahead of time, and now I feel more prepared, and it's not going to be this rush to educate myself on, all these topics later on. It's like I can go little by little and just slowly form the kind of homeschool environment that I'm going to have. So yeah, that really has helped me be a better parent, is making the decision to homeschool ahead of time and educating myself slowly and surely on that. Another thing I got right as a new mother, and this is going to be maybe pretty controversial in the COVID era, but I am not afraid of germs. I'm a detoxification specialist. Like, I really understand sickness, and when I'm following like the correct diet, I just don't get sick. Like, there was like a 6-year stretch where I never got sick once. So I'm really not afraid of germs. And if you are a breastfeeding mother, you are giving your child your own immune protection. So it's a really powerful thing. And so I'm just not afraid of germs. We've never used hand sanitizer. We've never used soap on our daughter. We've never used shampoos. We've never used anything in the house besides like vinegar to clean with, or baking soda. So she has just, if we wash our hands after the park or something, it's just with water, and that's it. And my child has never been sick once. Another thing I got right as a new mom is kind of a twofer. It's cloth diapers, because they're the best. And within that, or tied to that, is going as plastic free as possible. So cloth diapers are just the greatest thing since sliced bread. They've saved us so much money and time, like, having to buy diapers and all of that. They work really well. I put them on my baby registry and was gifted them by friends and family, and I love them. I got the Grovia all-in-one diapers. I'll do a separate review on them, and just the whole process, because I don't know, we don't really use cloth diapers in our society today, and it seems like it would be messy and gross and overwhelming and a lot of work, but it's not. I'm going to be able to reuse them for every child I have. So such a good investment to make. And also, I'm really happy with this decision as well, because I just read how for the first time ever, people are showing up and they're testing positive for microplastics in their bloodstream. And this is like such an alarming thing to learn. And they were saying that infants were testing higher than the average adult, and it's because of their exposure to plastics from such a young age. And they were saying that plastic diapers, most diapers have plastic in them that is against the skin, and also plastic baby bottles. So, and we also have plastic like polyester clothing and stuff. So going plastic free was a big thing for me years ago on my detoxification journey, but I knew, that I wanted to make a very concerted effort to do the same for my children. So part of this decision was choosing to use organic cloth diapers. We bought bottles. I put bottles on my baby registry. And I have the glass Advent bottles. I can't tell you if they worked well or not, because we didn't end up using them. My daughter didn't want a bottle, and at the end of the day, I didn't want to use a bottle either. I don't know, it just was so much easier to just, boob it all of the time. So, so bottles weren't really a thing in my house. But yeah, we did try to go for glass bottles. And just in general, organic clothing that's not polyester, and as little plastic toys as possible. We really try and make an effort. Sometimes we're gifted plastic toys, and she loves them so much, and so we do put them in her rotation. But for the most part, we really try and limit her plastic use and exposure for this reason alone, because we just don't know the long-term effects. And so this was something I got right, because I really feel for the parents who, there was also like a formula recall recently. And I really feel for the mothers who, were sold on certain products or, made decisions thinking they were doing something, positive for their family. And then they read these studies that come out, or these recalls that are announced, and they just feel such mom guilt. So really, if you're a mom on the other side of this and, you've used plastic baby bottles or plastic diapers, it's okay. It's so good to be aware in the present, because then we can make changes. You can detox things out of the blood, you can detox things out of the body, but it's best to educate ourselves ahead of time. So yeah, going plastic free was definitely something I did right as a first-time mom. So the last thing I'm going to include on this list is practicing elimination communication. What is that, you're saying? And it's basically communicating or, establishing a relationship with your child where they can communicate their need to go potty. And this sounds crazy. I didn't do it perfectly, and I'm really excited to do it again with my next child. But for my baby, we didn't do it from birth. A lot of people do it from birth. And I'm going to do a whole other video on this, and you can Google elimination communication if you're still like, wait, what is this? But basically, yeah, so it's not potty training, but it is forming this relationship where your child can communicate they have to go to the potty, and then you just put them on this little infant potty and they go. It's really cool. So we started doing this around 3 months with my child, and she was going on the potty. So basically we would put her down for a nap, she would sleep, and every time she woke up from her nap, I would put her on this cute little top hat potty. And you create a sound association. So for pee, we would go pss, 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 and for poo, we would go And she went perfect. Like every time I put her on the potty, she would go. And it's not potty training, but it was giving her an opportunity to use the bathroom before putting her diaper on. So the cool thing about this was, by the time we kind of a couple weeks into it, when we really understood it and got comfortable with the routine, we didn't experience any more blowouts. There was no poopy diapers that we had to change. It was awesome. She would go pee, she would go poo after every nap. And even too, I learned, because it was in a little top hat potty, I learned how much a bowel movement was for her. So I could see no, she probably still has a little more in there, and I would rub her belly and keep her in that squat position, and she would fully eliminate. And then I could tell, I'd be like, oh no, that's a full amount. And then I would, get her cleaned up, put her diaper on, and we never had any more poopy diapers. Where before elimination communication, before giving her any opportunity to use the potty, every first time mom knows, or any mom or dad or grandparent or anybody, you would change the diaper, and then literally 5 minutes later, you'd be like, oh, is that another poopy diaper? And they'd be experiencing blowouts, and you got to change them and change their outfit, and it's a whole mess. So really, by 3 months, we had her going on the potty, and she wasn't, going pee every time on the potty, but we were catching all of the poops, and it was awesome. And I didn't have to worry about blowouts, and we didn't have to ruin our nice clothing and, get them that beautiful yellow stain. So EC was definitely something really cool. Our family just cracked up seeing such a tiny infant on a potty. But yeah, it was really fun, and it can help their independence, and I'm really looking forward to getting a chance to do it again. And this time I would start from birth. I was a little bit chicken to start so early, but now that I'm comfortable with it, I'm definitely going to start from birth. So thank you for joining me. If you're a new mother, I wish you the best of luck. And like I said, the number one thing on this list was education. So come back and I will keep talking about these motherhood themes. If you liked this video, found it at all interesting or helpful or informative, help it spread to more new mothers, give it a like or a share. And I will see you next time. Goodbye.